Okay, right, so we're going to get a probability out, and that's what we're going to map to our acceptability judgments. So let's be a little bit more precise about how that works. So for each set of island stimuli from the Sprouse and colleagues 2012 studies, remember here is an example of our complex NP island stimuli set. So just as a quick recap of that, we have, for example, a matrix dependency with a non-island structure in it, so who claimed that Lily forgot the necklace. We have an embedded dependency, that same non-island structure. We have a matrix dependency that has an island structure later on in the utterance, and then we have an embedded dependency with that same island structure. Of course, now the dependency is crossing the island, right? So these are stimuli. So for each set of stimuli, remember we have 4 island types, so one set of stimuli for each. For each set, we can look at each WH dependency and transform it into its appropriate container node sequence, right? So we just transformed each of those into its container node sequence. And then we can break each one into the syntactic trigram building blocks involved here. In fact, these are just one, but these are going to have multiple syntactic trigram building blocks. And then we can calculate the probability for that particular dependency, right? We just multiply all the individual building block probabilities and get our final probability for that WH dependency. Then these probabilities can be plotted to see if we see that same super additive pattern, which shows up again as non-parallel lines. Now here, these are from the adult judgments, right? So this is a z-score rating. And what we're going to replace this with is probability, right? So as when z-score rating, higher rating was better, so just the same, higher probability, so to speak, is going to be better, right? So it's going to look very, very similar. We're going to be looking for that same non-parallel line structure. If we do see it show up, right? If we see that a modeled learner can reproduce this pattern of judgments, these non-parallel lines, that super additive effect for the embedded dependency that crosses a syntactic island structure, then we predict the child learning from that input has the syntactic knowledge, because that syntactic knowledge allowed the same judgment pattern as adults, the super additive pattern. And that knowledge was learned from the building block in that child's input.